Hello everyone, Dravenord's Productions here, and welcome back once again to another Thomas review. As you may remember, about almost a week ago, my dad and I went to Walmart to get some things for dinner, while I wanted to get some more hot glue sticks. And then I checked the Thomas area, and I came across this guy. This, folks, right here is the Thomas & Friends Motorized Classic James. This item, when I found this at Walmart, cost around $14.97, and that's not of a bad deal. Costing that and the hot glue sticks to be in $24.40 total. I spotted this item right into the middle of the two classic Thomases, and I immediately picked it up. And I am so grateful to have Classic James. All I need now is Classic Gordon, and then I'm struck. Anyway, this is what the box looks like. You have the 80th anniversary logo, Classic James, and then the Thomas illustration, 3+, and then the character himself along with the tanker, and then the nitrogen promo of James, and then the side, and then the other side, the bottom, and the back. Nothing too special. It's just all the licensing information and all of that. And then, of course, the Mattel empowering generations through play. And that's the box, basically. So, let's go ahead and open him, shall we? Coming in with the unboxing. Alright, out comes James. And then his tender and his tanker. Come on. There we go. And of course, here is the elongated instructions. Nothing to say about it. It's just whatever. Alright, here's James. Now, let's take a look at him, shall we? Starting at the front of him. As you can see from this model right here, you can see the white running board and the printed buffers, although my model is a little bit scratched. And then of course you have the gorgeous CGI face, and it looks really nice, although the eyes are a little bit misprinted. And this is something that I forgot to mention on Classic Thomas when I did a review of him, and he has the misprinted eyes. Now let's take a look at his side right here. And as you can see, he has the rivet detailing like he has in seasons 23 and 24, which amazing. I love this. And then, of course, you have the wheels, and then his pony truck wheels. And then, of course, the running board does not go all the way, but I can see that Mattel is trying with these models, trying to improve. They're trying to put effort into the toys, you know? And then the cab is hollow and you can literally see at the back, and it's not too bad. Pretty nice. And then the other side as well. Really nice stuff. I can understand why some people may not like it because of how fat his boiler is, and I can see why. His boiler may be kind of fat and may not look good, and it should have been a little bit of a medium size, but that never really bothered me. Now, on to the tender. So here is the look at the front of James's tender, and it is strikingly similar to the talking 2021 James, which we'll compare to later. And then, of course, the side looks really nice. You have the number 5, and then the handrails, which I forgot to mention early on the front of James. And then, of course, the nice rivets. Of course, featured in seasons 23 and 24, as I said before. And of course, the new chassis, which I don't mind, although could have been painted red to match up the body. And then the back itself, and then the side as well. And of course, his cold piece is removable and pretty interesting of the shape. Pretty nice. Pretty fascinating. I love it. Now let's do a comparison between this James and this James from Trackmaster Revolution / Motorized from 2014 until around 2021. And as you can see from the Jameses, they are pretty different in terms of the boiler sizing. And the faces are pretty different too. This one does not have any rivets, while this one does. And the backs are different. Then of course how they literally painted the dome, while this one is a literal separate piece. Yeah, and not to mention the wheels too. This one has the pony truck, while this one is just completely lacking it. Not to mention, look at how long Classic James is compared to the Trackmaster Revolution one. This is crazy. This James in particular came in a pack with the Rainbow Thomas, Percy, and Rebecca. And I have picked out the details like the running board, giving him a cardboard lamp, etc. Alright, now on to the tenders, and they're also different as well. Also on my model right here, I also gave the Trackmaster Revolution James a rectangular back lining on the back. Pretty different of the printing quality and all that. And of course, the coal is completely different. So, yeah, not much else to say here. Now, I have a good amount of Jameses in my collection, so bear with me. So, let's bring out the Tomy James from the 90s or 2000s. And as you can see, look at this. I mean, his proportions are pretty accurate of how they were in the show, of course. And, of course, he is battery-powered, of course. And that's how the old Tomy models were until around the 2010s or so. So here is a side-by-side comparison between the Tomy one and the Motorized one. The differences between those Jameses is just wow. You are literally looking at a Thomas toy from the past and then look of the future of the Motorized stuff had become. Even upgrading the stuff and try to improve the quality 11 years later. Not to mention that the Tomy version of James has a safety valve or whistle, while this one doesn't. And that's your comparison of the classic James from the old Tomy line. Now onto this abomination right here, Real Steam James. Obviously, their faces are different, obviously, and same for the funnels, just so that you can literally add the gimmick where you have to put the pump in that water to make him, well, steam out of his funnel. And then, of course, the boiler sizing, then the wheels, the backs, the tops, and the different shades of red, you know, stuff like that. The same thing can be applied to the tenders as well. I mean, yeah, look at this. So yeah, that's Real Steam James. Now, I do not have a 2015 or 2014 Playro James, so this black James from 2016 will be the substitute. Obviously, the faces are different, and the running board, while this James has a whitish grayish running board and has extra detail, while this James has a white running board and does not have the lamp irons. And of course, the sizes are different. Not to mention that this James has a whistle at the top, while this James is sort of lacking. And just like this James, the Playrail 2015 or 2014's James boiler is fat. Although I can literally give this a pass because it is designed that way just so that he could fit a AA battery into this new chassis block. So that's absolutely fine. I can literally give this a pass. And the tenders are completely different too. So yeah, same reasons as the Tomy version of James. The classic one that I'm talking about. And now, let's compare this James to the 2021 Motorized Talking James. And, of course, their faces are pretty different, obviously. And the amount of rivets that they have are completely different from one another. As you can see, of the amount of rivets that it has, and they're kind of big. While this one has a decent amount of rivets. And then the backs are different. And then the other side, once again, different number of rivets. As you can see here. And compared to here. And the tenders are kind of strikingly similar to each other. And the removable coal feature is the same philosophy. This piece of coal from the Talking James kind of looks like a block of coal, while this one absolutely feels like it's literally coal. You can literally fit this coal into here and it's fine. Just wiggles and all of that. While this piece of coal, you cannot put this onto the 2021 Talking James tender. Oh yeah, not to mention, you can literally see some little bit of coal pieces, even the inside of the tender, while here, you get nothing, which is pretty normal. And I wouldn't mind for a little bit of customization of having the inside of the tenders to have a little bit of weathering. And that's the comparison. Now, there is like a few Jameses here, like this pullback James, but obviously it's kind of reaching like the same height and it's absolutely chunky. And this Talking James from 2015 is literally like Trackmaster Revolution James, but with the buffers being pretty flat. So I will not bother of doing these comparisons. Anyway, that's classic James. Alright, let's take a look at the white tanker. This tanker right here is kind of like a hybrid mix of classic Thomas and All Engines Go, because I do believe that this tanker part was used in like some All Engines Go sets and all that. So, yeah. This is what the tanker looks like, and it's not too bad. If it has like a milk logo and a face, it would have been a lot better. And it would have been akin to the milk tankers and the white troublesome tankers. And you know of how rare these things are! So yeah, it's a nice tanker. What else to say about it? It's nice. Alright, we have gone through the comparisons. Let's give Classic James some AAA batteries. And he's a goer. And it's also pretty unique because just like Scotsman, The coupling is placed by a separate piece, and they reuse the same chassis without a coupling attached to it. So that's pretty unique. All right, now to get James back on to his rolling chassis. And he looks splendid rolling along. So in conclusion, what are my thoughts on the Thomas & Friends Motorized Classic James? Well, I think that he is alright, and he's kind of good too. I do wish that there was some sort of way to not make his boiler fat, as well as adding a logo on the white tanker. But other than that, James looks alright. As for rating scale wise, well, it is kind of tricky. So I will have to give him either a 7 or a 6 out of 10. Probably I'll give him probably a 6 out of 10, just to be nice. Now, I would have loved to run James, but as you can see, all of this stuff has been moved into this second room, as well as some of the things in the first room. And the reason why that all of this stuff has been cleared out is because there's going to be some guys who's going to be putting a door into our power box. So I will try to do the running montage as good as I could. Also, just like Thomas and Flying Scotsman, I will not be running James onto the Hyperglow station because their funnels and their switches will hit the sheds. So yeah. So they're just going to be rolling around in quite of an oval here. With all that out of the way, let's have the splendid red engine himself run on this layout. And that is your short run on the Motorized Classic James. I do apologize if this run is a bit short. There is just not a whole lot that I can do because all the stuff in the way. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and let me know what are your thoughts on Classic James. Do you think that he is alright, or do you think that he could have been better if the boiler was not fat in the first place? This is Troy Edwards signing off. See you in the next video.